Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel for another Hot Toys Marvel 1/6 scale figure unboxing and review. Now today we are taking a look at Doctor Strange, based off his appearance in Spider-Man No Way Home. It's kinda crazy to think that this is our third Doctor Strange figure from Hot Toys, and it's from the third Spidey movie. I guess 3 really is the magic number. Now I got mine from toyswonderland.com. Link for that is in the description below. They do have installment plans and a reward system. While you're down there, why not hit that subscribe, bell notification icon and join button so you're notified as soon as a brand new review goes live on the channel. As for the box art, the overall dimensions of this darn thing are huge. This box is enormous, and I'm pretty sure I know why. The artwork itself has a lot going on, but I can't say I dislike it. I actually really like it. It's super eye-catching. We've got Doctor Strange emerging from one of his portals, and most of the villains they're represented. We've got the pumpkin bombs for Green Goblin, Doc Ock's tentacles weaving their way through the portal, plus some lightning for Electro. Now, the artwork off to the side is done in a gloss finish, where the rest of the packaging is this rough textured matte finish with a glossy web pattern over the top. On the side of the box, that web pattern and a little bit of artwork in the blue. We also have more artwork on the back, a screenshot from the movie, with Doctor Strange separating Spidey's astral projection from his physical form. Then of course, some warnings and legal info. If we slide off the top cover, you guessed it, more artwork, but this is stunning. It's the cracking multiverse out of a Spidey logo with Doctor Strange smack bang in the middle. I could totally see a world where someone turns this into an art print. I would happily put that on my wall alongside Doctor Strange. Then around the front, an open window showcasing the figure inside for a sneak preview. But as you all know, we're not here for sneak previews, oh no. We're here to review Doctor Strange himself. Now, I'm pretty curious to see how this guy compares to Infinity War Doctor Strange, the most recent version by Hot Toys, but I can already tell he looks pretty darn good. First in-hand impressions, they're positive. This is Hot Toys' third Doctor Strange. If they weren't positive, I would be worried. What we are going to do now, though, is get all of his accessories laid out in the light box. Take a closer look at everything he comes with. Starting off with the display base first, you all know that I have an absolute deep loathing for this style of display base, the diamond style. Why? Because the shape is so impractical. We've got points on either side and at the back, so you can't have it against the back of the cabinet. The depth is insane for a regular 1/6 scale figure. Normally, I'd hate this, but I don't know what to tell you. With this Doctor Strange figure, I actually really like it. Up front, Doctor Strange on a nameplate. You do have this very flimsy plastic printed circle. It's supposed to be the spell. Don't love this, but I do love the effect pieces. They look awesome. They plug in nice and securely, and they look like the spell from the movie. There are multiple layers of paint with some darker orange and translucent yellow plastic. Then up the back, a multi-jointed flight pole arm with a spring-loaded waist clamp. Don't worry, we will pop Doctor Strange on this a little bit later. So yes, this time I like the diamond base. I can't believe I just said that, but I genuinely do. We also get his spell casting table. It kind of looks like a floating magical sink of doom. We do have a translucent flight pole, plus this teeny tiny dicky stand down below. This is relatively top heavy, and the dicky stand isn't very good, so if you don't have this on a stable surface or you knock it, it will topple over. The detail though is stunning. There's some sculpted rock work. This is plastic, not foam core. Some people thought it would be foam. It isn't. You can also open the bottom panel and flick the light switch to turn on the LEDs. There's a ring of LEDs around the outside and one in the center. Plus, in the center, you've got the magical spell. I also like how it illuminates these runes along the edges. Plus, in the middle, there's some really nice gold paint apps. It's nice and shiny. You also have these teeny tiny little creatures, like this elephant, and I'm pretty sure that's an owl. Overall, the detail on the magical sink is nicely done. People are going to be so mad I called it a magical sink. I apologize. It's just the best way I can describe the darn thing. Now, you do get this translucent magical string. You can have this kind of looped through the box as though he's grabbing it, or you can use it in another way, totally up to you. Then, we also get the box. This is the box that Doctor Strange binds the spell in, and it looks awesome. The sculpt work is super sharp. It's made of plastic, but looks nice and shiny. You do have some green, some gold, and some gunmetal, plus a bunch of weathering as well. I would have loved a pumpkin bomb on the inside so it could rattle around like in the movie when Green Goblin tosses a pumpkin bomb inside, but I guess if you get Green Goblin, you can wedge that in there yourself. We have seen most of these effect pieces before, but this one is all new. It comes with a pinching hand as he's casting the spell. This, I guess, is the spell. It is some thin plastic though, so please be careful. We have seen these before, the usual suspects, these magical mandalas. I do like the scripture and the sculpt work, plus the darker orange shading up on top. Now we do get 2 sets, one for each side. The same goes for the big boys, also painted in the exact same way, but they look stunning. When you hit them with light, they genuinely look like they're glowing. Around the back, you can see where you'd slot his fingers in and kind of looks like magical fire as he's casting these circles. I also once again like the way they're painted with that darker shading. These absolutely pop. These also pop in this neon translucent green, but why are they here? He no longer has access to the time stone in order to cast time spells, so it's a bit of an oddity that these were included. Don't get me wrong, when it comes to accessories, yes, the more the merrier, but they do still need to be accurate to the movie, and those simply aren't. You do get the Eye of Agamotto. It's closed because, like I said, no more time stone. I like the multicolored string up top. It's real string. And it's painted really nicely. It looks suitably metallic and suitably old. You then get 2 different sling rings, and these are tiny. The sculpt is unique from one to the other, plus they're painted just as well as the eye, nice and disheveled and patinate. Which I'm 60% sure is a word. If it isn't, it should be. It means something has a patina. Now, when it comes to hands, we get the usual suspects: spell-casting hands, open palm hands, and the like. We do have the scarring on the back from his accident, nice and gnarly looking, and the skin texture plus the shading, it's all well done. What we are going to do now, though, is get Doctor Strange himself out here. Standing straight up and down in the light box, no crazy poses or accessories or anything like that. Yeah, that's Doctor Strange. Hot Toys are no strangers to making Doctor Strange figures at this point. This is their 3rd one. And it's not the 3rd best, it actually might be their best to date. The outfit has been refined. The blues are slightly darker except for this logo pattern on the front. More on that in a second. I dig the way the Cloak of Levitation hugs the body, and it drapes a lot better. The previous 2, they were unwieldy and hard to work with, but not with this one. I think this Cloak of Levitation is the best one yet. The proportions are still really good, using the same exact body from the original Doctor Strange all the way back from the first movie. And then the head sculpt is borrowed from Infinity War, but that was a great choice. I love that head sculpt, and it works really nicely on this body. Overall, it's more of the same, but that's not a bad thing. Up close and personal, kicking things off with the head sculpt first. Now, yes, we have seen this head sculpt before with Infinity War. I liked it then, and I like it now. The skin texture is slightly lighter and more HD on the new one. He does have a little bit of skin tone in his hairline, meaning it looks slightly more realistic. His hair is also a touch lighter. as compared to the Doctor Strange from Doctor Strange 1, these two were completely different. This one is still my all-time favourite Doctor Strange head sculpt by Hot Toys, but the Infinity War one, I guess by default, comes in a close second. I also like the wrinkling and skin texture around his neck. Once again, realism is the name of the game. What about some head swaps, I hear you ask? Well, it's already happened. This is the original Doctor Strange head sculpt on the new body. I do like how it looks on here. It's still, like I said before, my favourite Doctor Strange sculpt. If only Hot Toys reuse this one instead of Infinity War. This, I think, suits the body well, plus his hair kinda looked like this in the movie as well. I can do you one better though. If you're thinking, whoa, what the hell is that head sculpt? Well, this is made by V Collectibles, aka Vince. I do have a YouTube Shorts review coming up on the channel very soon for this head sculpt, but it's incredible. The skin texture, the likeness to Benedict, plus the super thin strands of hair. Yeah, I'm 100% going to be using this head sculpt on this body. As compared to the Infinity War sculpt, yeah, there's a significant difference, both in terms of likeness and in terms of detail. The Hot Toys head sculpt has some really nicely painted skin texture, but I don't know about y'all, I'm preferring this one. He is, of course, currently wearing his Cloak of Levitation, and at first glance you might be thinking, oh, it's the same thing as Infinity War, but actually, no, this is all new. I love the screen-printed pattern. I also love the stitched-in lines. The detail is exceptional, especially up here for the collar. But the new thing is, there's way less of it. There's so much less fabric, it drapes beautifully. There are wires down the front and magnets up the top, plus more wires in the collar. I like the zigzag stitching. This shoulder pad is still padded, but it's not overdone. Like I said, the drape and the way it hugs the body, this one is superior. Then again, I say that like a blanket statement, it isn't. If you prefer more cape, then maybe one of the other Doctor Stranges is the one for you. Now, if we remove the Cloak of Levitation, you can see he's currently wearing the closed Eye of Agamotto, because that's the only one he has. You also have a lot of different layers of fabric that make up the outfit. Now, the big difference between this one and Infinity War is the color. His logo, if you want to call it that, that's been screen printed on the various panels, is so much brighter. It now stands out way more, and in my opinion, this is the better looking of the two. Don't worry, we will do a comparison. It's coming up a little bit later. He also has this very lightweight fabric shirt, quite thin and movable when it comes to posing. You have multiple straps and bands that make up the gauntlets, and some tassels. This is all fabric, so no worries about creasing. The belt area is also suitably complex. You have this kind of rubbery plastic cummerbund, cumberbatch, get it? I'm so sorry. You then have some woven belts with multiple little buckles, all painted quite nicely. I like the frayed edges, just gives a little bit more dimension and visual interest. You do have a spot for the sling ring on one side and another spot on the other. One's supposed to go here and one's supposed to go here. I guess one is the backup. Now, this little string was hidden underneath one of the belts out of the box, so if the same thing happens to you, just scoot the belt up just a touch. You then have a fourth belt down below that's painted in this really dark navy blue with some weathering in the crevices. Coming down to the legs, I'm not exactly sure how to describe this piece, so let's call it a tunic. It's an asymmetrical design with this pleated panel on one side but not the other. You also have that bright screen printed blue as a continuation of the stunning logo that I love. Then down below, you've got some wires built in. Now, unfortunately, no wires down the sides as far as I can tell, but you can shape these pieces so they kind of hug the legs just a little bit more. You do have a lot of them, so when it comes to posing, you've got a lot to work with. Underneath, you do have a continuation of his shirt from up top, plus his fabric pants, nice and baggy. Then down below, the same boots as Infinity War and Doctor Strange 1. There's some straps over the top done in real fabric and some tassels, but aside from being nicely painted and having some wrinkling and laces sculpted in, I don't have much else good to say about them. They're kind of restrictive when it comes to posing. No split cut ankle. On the underside, some fully sculpted tread. For a quick side-by-side comparison, on the left, Doctor Strange from Spider-Man No Way Home, and on the right, Doctor Strange 1. As you can see, they're pretty much the exact same height, same body, same boots, same pattern for the outfit. Although the colours, the material choice, and the cloaks, they're drastically different. The original has this big, bulky cloak of levitation. It's huge and cumbersome and super hard to work with. Plus, his outfit is a lot darker. As compared to the new one with the super slim-fitting cloak, looks stunning. And the much more vibrant logo, I don't know about y'all, but my eye is drawn to the new one. These two are so close in comparison that we're literally splitting hairs at this point, but I'm gonna try anyway. Their bodies are identical, their head sculpts are the same except for the paint apps. The new one looks slightly better. The new version also has a lighter weight cloak even compared to Infinity War, which was an improvement over the 1.0, especially how it drapes over that right shoulder. It is, however, a little bit darker on No Way Home. His outfit is also darker, and maybe that's why the logo just pops that bit more. Then of course we have black and gold suit Spidey from No Way Home. Not at all accurate, but he's from the same line, so technically these two were meant to be displayed together. Will I do that in my collection? Oh, absolutely. I'm all for a No Way Home display, and with Peter being slightly shorter and being in a suit that pops in the collection, these two complement each other well. So do these two though. It's upgraded suit Spidey from Far From Home. Now I do have him wearing the magical web shooter from the black and gold suit that we literally just discussed to try and No Way Homeify him a little, although still not accurate with the black bands on the belt. Nevertheless, these two look great together too. I am really excited to get the rest of the Spideys from No Way Home, but for now, this'll have to work. Going over articulation without the cloak on. In the end I decided let's just take it off. It's going to make showing off the joints just a little bit easier. Also bear in mind this is my personal copy, so I'm going to be a touch more careful. Starting off with the head sculpt. It's on a fixed neck with a ball peg at the bottom. Looking forward to there, looking back to there, swivel and pivot side to side. The arms will go up to there, forward and back. You also have a butterfly joint at the shoulder that hinges up and down. Swivel at the bicep, double bend at the elbow going the full way, plus a regular hinge and swivel 1/6 scale wrist peg. The torso does crunch forward and back, restricted by this rubbery belt. Swivel and pivot. The legs will go forward to there, going out to there, swivel at the upper thigh, ratcheted double bend at the knee going past 90, and unfortunately a fixed solid boot with a double ball peg inside, so all you really get is swivel. Moving on to the 3 cool and 3 annoying things. The first annoying thing is this, the dicky little stand for the magical sink. Now, in my opinion, they could have done way better. Hot Toys are no stranger to really clever engineering, and this simply isn't it. I reckon they could have swung these magical effect pieces around the front, had this piece plug into them, and then it could have hovered in front of Doctor Strange like it's actually floating. But no, in the end they went the simple route and included this. The second annoying thing is, this is our third Doctor Strange, and it's our third Strange with the same fixed ankles. Why? That means in a wide stance, if you have him standing on his display base, his ankles are permanently at an angle. They're not flat on the floor. And last time I checked, nobody stands that way. They could have done a split cut boot design so you could tilt the ankles in, but no, they didn't. The third annoying thing is they reuse the Infinity War version's head sculpt. Now that's not to say this looks bad, it doesn't, but I would have loved to have seen something just ever so slightly different. Maybe some scratches on the cheek, some battle damage and blood effects, some sweat, or even the eyes looking off to one side. So if you looked at this guy in the collection, you'd know, okay, this one is quite clearly different from the Avengers one. The first cool thing is they've done a bunch of changes to the outfit, and they're all for the better. This is the third Doctor Strange by this point, so they've learned and they've adjusted things as they've gone along. I think this cloak is the best one to date. It's the most lightweight, it hugs the body, and there are some wires integrated as well. There's not too much of it, it's really easy to work with. Plus, I love the new vibrant blue color for the tunic. The second cool thing is we get a bunch of brand new accessories specific to this version of Doctor Strange, ranging from new effect pieces and the diorama display base to the light up magical sink or spell casting table, and the box that contains the spell. I like them all. The third cool thing, even though I literally just gave them grief for reusing the head sculpt, but it's the fact that the paint apps look a little bit better. The technology has improved ever since the Infinity War version, so the skin texture, the realism, it's been dialed up to 11. Wrapping up on Hot Toys Doctor Strange from Spider-Man No Way Home. When this guy was first announced, he was then followed by Multiverse of Madness Strange and Dead Strange, so at that point we had 3 Strangers on pre-order. Not a great look, considering that meant most people had to pick between the 3 of them. They only wanted one. Multiverse of Madness Strange stood out for the new accessories and the new head sculpt and the big blue sigil on his chest, very comic booky. Dead Strange, he kinda stood out for his own weird wacky reasons. Then when this guy was released, people genuinely had forgotten about him. They said, that's right, Hot Toys made Doctor Strange from Spidey, I completely forgot. Now that he's out, is he worth a second look? Well, I think so. This guy, he's cross-compatible. Yes, he's made for Spidey, but you can pop him in your Doctor Strange 1 display. You can pop him in Infinity War. You can pop him in Endgame. It's totally up to you. I love the array of accessories, plus all of the new ones and the diorama display base. Absolutely awesome. Then, the Cloak of Levitation has been updated. It now hugs the body a lot better. I dig the brighter blue chest logo, plus his head sculpt is the same underlying sculpt, but the paint applications, they've been improved. So, if you find yourself needing that classic look for Doctor Strange from any of those aforementioned films, go ahead and grab him. It doesn't get any better than this guy. For me, this is currently my favorite Strange. Now, I got mine from toyswonderland.com. Link for that is in the description below. They do have installment plans and a reward system. While you're down there, why not hit that subscribe, bell notification icon, and join button if you like the sound of seeing your name in the end credits of my reviews. Like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next video.